Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm V and I'm so excited for today's video because I get to talk about books and I love books so much. Also, we have an extra special guest who was uninvited, but you know what? He can stay. He can stay in the background of this video. Although I think he's very uninterested, but he should be interested because I have some really exciting books to talk to y'all about. So I didn't read like a whole bunch of books this year, and that's just because I've been super busy. I love reading, but I read when I get the chance, and I didn't get tons of chances this year, so I read, I think, 16 books, 3 of them being DNFs. But we're not gonna get into the bad books of this year. We are gonna get into my top 5 favorite books this year, which let me preface by saying this was so hard to do for me, like to pick out 5 books because so many of them were really good. But let me show you the top 5 books that I read this year. So first up, we have the one and only Colleen Hoover book that I read. I know, insane. I do plan on reading more this year, but the one and only one I have read is already like a favorite of mine, so that says a lot. But it is Verity by Colleen Hoover, and this book, you guys, so good. I did not expect to like this when I first picked it up because it's a thriller and I don't read thrillers. Like, I read mainly feel-good books because that's just the vibe I'm going for when I read a book. I want it to like warm my heart and blah blah blah. So I didn't expect to like this book, but oh my gosh, it was so good. First of all, the main character Lowen is a writer and I'm a writer, and that just made this so interesting to read. She's a struggling writer though, but she gets this opportunity one day when this really popular, famous author, Verity Crawford, is injured and can no longer finish her really hyped series. So her team hires Lowen to finish the rest of her series. Lowen, the struggling writer that she is, accepts the offer, but she has to move into Verity's home to access Verity's notes and stuff for the series to continue it. And when she moves in, spooky things happen. This is a book where like so many people were like, don't read this if you're home alone, and like people are saying like, oh, when I read this, spooky things happened in my house, and like I got why. Like, this was creepy, but I will say it wasn't like super scary. Like, I was able to sleep at night. It is though a book that you could read in one sitting. Like, you could plop your butt in a chair and finish this all in like a day. Like, it's just so good. It's a page turner. Like, literally I was like flipping every page. I was like, I need to know what happens next. Also, the romance in this, okay, I guess we're not surprised the romance is good because Colleen Hoover is known for her romance, but I loved it so much. I was so invested in the romance amidst the thriller book. But I will say there are like disturbing parts of this. It's like a little disturbing, but it's really good, and there's a plot twist at the end. It will have you shook. It's done so well because it's so thought-provoking. But just, yeah, overall this book is a 5 stars, and it was one of my favorite ones of 2022 because it like embodies why I love reading. I love a book that literally transports me from this life and where I am to whatever's happening in the pages, and I feel like I'm literally there moving into this house with Lowen. It was so good. Highly recommend this book, and I can't wait to read more Colleen Hoover books. This next book is like a 360 from Verity because we were going from thriller to romance, but this isn't just my favorite romance of this year. This is like probably my all-time favorite romance, and it's The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This was one of those like really hyped books, and sometimes like I read books like that and I'm like, why was there so much of a hype for this book? This was not like that. This, I completely understood why this was super hype. Basically, the main character in this, Olive Smith, is a 3rd-year PhD candidate. I just read that off the back of this because I didn't remember that. She's a 3rd-year PhD candidate, so it's like a STEM vibe novel, and she like doesn't do love. Like, she is committed to school and her science until one day she wants to convince her friend that she is in a relationship, and she kisses the first guy she sees, who happens to be a professor at the same school that she's at, Adam Carlson. And we're thrown into this like fake dating story, but it's more than that because it also deals with her life as a STEM student, and it's just so well done. So if it isn't obvious, this is a fake dating trope book, but it's done so like, it's so juicy. Everything you'd want in a fake dating trope book is in this. Like, it's steamy, and Adam Carlson, you guys, I'm obsessed with him. I would be in love with him, but I think he's so perfect for Olive. But he's just chef's kiss. And Olive too, I love her. She's so relatable, and I love seeing main characters like that are like beautifully flawed, and that is Olive, and their chemistry is so good. Can't get it, chemistry, except she studies bio. But anyways, it's just such a good book. This one gave me a book hangover though. I literally couldn't read another book for like a week. I was just so wrapped up in their world that I couldn't let them go. I was like still thinking about them, and it also kind of made me really sad after because I was like, I want what they have. They make me believe in love. So yeah, this was a really, really good book. So the next book is Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, and this is a part of the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. Basically, in the first one, we follow Pip, who is a teen, and for a school project, she reopens this case of a guy who is said to have killed his girlfriend, and like she reopens it and is like, I'm gonna solve this. And she does, and it's just such a good book. I literally loved it so much. I think I rated it a 4.5 stars, or maybe 4. I think 4.5. The only little thing was that like I could predict some of the ending, and I hate that in a mystery, but that's like also a tall order, but like I don't like being able to predict the ending. But the second one, the sequel, even better. I literally could not predict the ending to this one. It's the same main character, Pip, but she's just come back from doing that first case, and she's like, I'm done. We're not doing any murder mysteries anymore. Like, I'm out. But her friend's brother goes missing, and she can't ignore that because it's her friend's brother, right? And usually after a person is declared missing, they have like, I think it's this time span was like 2 days before it's like they usually aren't found. So she's trying to find him like as soon as possible. Time's ticking. She's on the clock. What's that saying? She's on the meter? I don't know. But basically that's why this is like a really fast-paced book, and I love it. And this time, instead of doing it for a school project, she has a true crime podcast. So if you love true crime podcasts, you'll love this because it is done so well in this book, and it's so interesting. Yeah, I was hooked. This is another page turner, and I literally couldn't predict anything that happened at the end. I could read this in a day, and this was beautiful. So well done. I literally love this book so much. Okay, and the next book is Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. So this is a romance book, and I loved this so much. I saw some people doing reviews of this, and a lot of people were saying it's like geared towards a younger audience and it's kind of juvenile, but I'm 19, almost 20, and I really enjoyed this book. It does have less spice than a lot of romances, like it's not that spicy, but I still really, really liked it. In fact, I think the topics that it touched upon were kind of geared towards an older audience. I really liked this book. It touched upon like a lot of important topics, for example, anti-Semitism, and I think that's so important for books to do, is to bring our attention to things that are going on and things that aren't good in our world, and I love that she included that in this book but still managed to keep it really lighthearted. And it's also a really diverse book, and I love that. I am getting so tired of reading books without diverse characters in it. I mean, people read books and they want to see bits of themselves in books and people to relate to them, so I think representation is really important. Same with the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, that has a lot of diversity in it, and it just makes me so happy. So love to see it. This book is basically about Rowan and Neil, and they're like rivals. So this is like a rivals to lovers romance book. So it follows, I think this takes place in one day or two, I'm not sure. I think it's one day, and it's like their high school senior graduation day, and they do this like scavenger hunt that their school throws, and Neil and Rowan decide to like team up because they are the smartest, and maybe they discover they don't hate each other after all. But yeah, this one was really, really good, really cute, and I cannot wait to reread this someday. Like, I'm going to reread this. Last but not least, I read The Inheritance Games this year, and it was so good. This is one of the books where I expected a lot from it, and it delivered. I expected a lot because, well, it's really hyped, and it can be comped to Knives Out, which is my like all-time favorite movie. Like, I love Knives Out so much, and this is very, very similar. Like, the main character gets a fortune and she has no idea why. So same like overall plot, but yeah, basically the main character, Avery Grams, gets left the entire fortune of this billionaire, Tobias Hawthorne, but she doesn't even know who he is. So she has no idea why she got this money, and his whole entire family, like his descendants and stuff, are not happy because they're like, why did this random girl just get the fortune that we thought we were gonna get? And to be able to get the money, she has to live in their house with all of these people who didn't get the money for, I think it was a year or something like that. And it's just this fun, exciting book because she teams up with his grandsons to like go through riddles and stuff and puzzles that he left behind to figure out why she got this money. It's so exciting, super action-filled and high-paced, and I really, really like this. This is the kind of book that I really want to see turned into a movie. Like, I feel like this would be such a good movie adaptation. The only thing I wasn't like a big fan of in this book was the love triangle, which isn't a spoil because it's just apparent. I don't like love triangles because I like to get invested in one couple. So like, I'm not a fan of love triangles, but putting that aside, this was one of my favorite books this year because it's just so good. So those were my top 5 books of 2022 so far. All these books will be linked down below if you want to get them yourself, get your hands on these. And if you're interested in all the other books that I've read this year, I posted reviews for all the books that I read this year on my Goodreads, so you can follow that, friend me on there if you want, and get the inside scoop of all the books that I read this year. In the comments below, let me know what your favorite book of the year was so far, and be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Please hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and don't forget to turn on the post notification bell so you're notified the next time I upload a video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!